They have come for 25 years. For so many, it is a battle against their own mind and body, as much as it is against others. This is not only a race, but an obsession. It grows over time, and for those who believe they can do it, one day every year stands alone. Some cross the line first, others finish later and still claim victory. That is the beauty of this sport, its tradition. To win it is to finish it. This is Ironman for those with iron wills. Port Macquarie, New South Wales. It's Friday afternoon. In 2 days' time, the scene will be vastly different, as 1,550 people strive to reach the finish line of a race that for 25 years has been a national sporting institution and a cauldron of emotions.
Memories of some of the competitors have just been, people sort of staggering in and just making the cut-off. It's an amazing event, but the people at the end of the field probably get more applause than the actual winners of the event. What Ironman competitors love about it is that the huge sense of achievement that they receive and the emotion of it, if you like. And it's a very special sort of an event. It's just, and I think you can't beat the experience and seeing that, and that rubs off on people. And I'm sure, the 500 or 600 brand new Ironman virgins every year, it's just amazing that they just keep turning up. And I'm sure that's because other triathletes out there just talk about the experience.
From its humble beginnings, Ironman Australia grew in popularity and profile. An important moment in its evolution came in 1995, when leading international sports management company IMG took over operations.
Even though it had been going for sort of like 9 or 10 years when we got involved, it was still seen to be, like the ultimate test of human endurance, and I guess in a way it was always portrayed as that. Over the time that we were involved, we saw races pop up in the United States, races in pretty much almost every country in Europe. So the expansion of Ironman in that, well, certainly the 15 years that IMG have been running the races here has been phenomenal around the world.
It was that first year there was something like 30 competitors pulled out of the water with hypothermia, because the water temperature was about 13 degrees. So we had about 5 doctors, and I remember in that first race they started bringing them out of the water after about 20 minutes, and they said, now the first competitor will be out in about 45 minutes. And Scott Tinley comes out and he's shivering, and it was only 20 minutes, and I said, you're not supposed to be here, you're supposed to be out there, what's going on? And then in they came, and they were bringing him in with a rubber, and they were throwing him on a wharf, and they were dragging him off the wharf. We were hugging them, we were doing all sorts of things. 2 people nearly died. It was so bad.
The first event, registration was done in an exercise book. Very behind the times, I guess, in this day and age. We had no idea what we were doing. but just plodded along, did registration. Then at the end, my main memory is, this little 6x4 trailer and our two kids who were about 8 and 9 helping us give out finishers' shirts by torchlight.
Ken and Glenda Baggs have been involved with the Ironman Australia Triathlon since the very first race was held in Foster Tuncurry in 1985. By 87, Ken was race director, a role he's fulfilled ever since, while Glenda has always been a familiar face in registrations. They are just two of thousands reflecting the immense community participation at Ironman Australia.
I don't think there's any other sporting event will do that, can bring together so many people in one community from all different areas into one for one day to get 1,500 people across the finish line.
One man who knows the journey as well as anyone is a 59-year-old veteran.
We've got Dave Ross.
That's the one.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not Brad Pitt, by the way. That's me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dave Ross has completed every single Ironman Australia triathlon.
1985. That's my first and most memorable Ironman. And it never always stick in my mind as being the toughest race ever.
The 2010 Urban Hotel Group Ironman Australia Triathlon moves closer. For some, it is what they know. For others, it's what they will soon find out.
We won't be doing it together because she's a very good swimmer.
And Mum's a very good runner.
So yeah, I don't know how we'll finish up. So, she'll definitely have a lot better swim than me.
And she'll beat me.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Among the first-timers, someone much better known for his role in public life.
I'm a bit underdone, but nevertheless, I have a race plan which basically involves trying to take it easy at every stage, and I'm hoping to come home in about 14 hours.
What lies ahead for Tony Abbott and every other competitor is hard work and the unknown.
25 trip. Thanks, Matt. Have a good race tomorrow.
This year's theme is Ironman Tough, and you really do have to be tough. It's a tough sport, it's a tough event. The organisers have got to be tough as well. Everyone's got to be tough to make all this happen. But at the end of it, we sit back and really feel that we've accomplished everything. It's like winning a grand final every event, I reckon.
Well, first thing is, I say to myself, what in God's name am I doing here? Why in God's name? Really, I've got to be doing something a little bit more sane. But then, when I get into it, I really think about it. It's just great doing something like this with so many wonderful people.
Yeah, look, I'll probably get up about 5 o'clock. I'm going to have a decent breakfast, and for me a decent breakfast is bacon and eggs. Not enough to sit in the tummy, but enough to at least feel that you've got some food in you. I'll be pretty nervous before the start of the swim. I'll get myself down the back of the pack because I know I'll be one of the slower swimmers.
the end of the wait. The 3.8 kilometre NBN swim leg is the start of a very long day. There is no question who is the man to beat. New Caledonia's Patrick Vernay is chasing his 4th straight win in this race.
Each time I win, it's different, and the first time it was very exciting, but the second time a little bit more, because it's more difficult to win a second time. After a third time, I couldn't believe it, and a fourth time it would be fantastic.
But Vernay has some determined challenges, including popular veteran 39-year-old Jason Shorters, a former Ironman Oz runner-up competing in his 50th Ironman race.
I usually go into a race with a bit of a wish list of things that I want to achieve in my training, in certain standards, I suppose, or certain kilometres, whether it's a number of Ks or a number of sessions, or things that I wanted to work on, and I got all my wish list done this time, so I'm actually really happy with how I've prepared.
There is hometown hope Tim Burkle, who finished 3rd in Port Macquarie last year.
It's really good, people come up to me in the street all the time and wish me luck, and see how the training's going, how I'm feeling, so it's good. And I've done a few school visits this week, and the kids have just been really great, and everyone's going to be out there backing me on the weekend.
2007 winner Rebecca Keat is the women's favourite. She is well used to being surrounded in the water.
Often I'm with some of the pro men, and they're actually really nice. I think they must see the different coloured caps and think, oh, that's a girl, I better not hit her. But if they did, I'd probably hit them back anyway. No, they're pretty good. They actually look after us. It's usually the girls that knock the other girls around more, so I try to stay away from the women and stay within the men, and that usually works quite well for me.
Behind the elite, the age groupers, all with different hopes and dreams.
The swim will be a very, very long, arduous thing. But having said that, I get in the frame of mind that, we enjoy the day. And so I enjoy the swim,
I don't want to be swum over. I will just make sure I steady myself for the first half K of the swim. Don't go too fast, just settle into a routine. Hopefully get out of the water in about 1 hour 35.
Leaders will finish the swim in less than 50 minutes. Others will take much longer. Imagine doing this for 2 hours. No matter how long it takes, all Ironmen are united by the desire to keep going and going and going. At the end of the NBN swim leg, elite competitor Adrian Cominotto has the honour of being first out of the water in 44 minutes, 32 seconds. Scotland's Scott Neadley is a step behind. In the rush that follows, a notable face is Australia's 1984 Mean Machine Olympic gold medalist Neil Brooks. Patrick Vernay is well placed 17 seconds off the pace. Tim Burkle a further 80 seconds back. Cominotto leads the field out onto the bike leg. 4 minutes behind, Jason Shorters is already playing catch-up. The top 8 swimmers include 3 age groupers: Brooks, Christopher Mumm and Trent Chapman. In the women's, age grouper Rachel Harris leads the way after clocking 48 minutes 27 seconds. Race favourite Rebecca Keat and her elite rival Amelia Pearson are close behind. Less than 2 minutes separate the top 8 finishers. Among them are Australian long course champion Carrie Lester. The Queenslander's form has been irresistible leading into this race. Consistent performer Lisa Morangan is also there. Just one of 1,550 swimmers, all beginning to tick off one leg. What awaits them is the 180-kilometre Shimano bike leg over 3 laps. Patrick Vernay is part of a small group that sets a cracking pace, averaging 50 kilometres an hour. He is joined by Cominotto, Paul Ambrose, Trent Chapman, Scott Neadley, and Olivier Marceau. While it will soon enough be peak hour on Port Macquarie's roads, for the moment, the busiest place in town is the transition zone. As the swimmers' numbers begin to thin, Tony Abbott comes through 8 minutes quicker than he'd hoped.
I finished the first leg, that's the main thing. Get a little ripper.
Dave Ross, near the tail of the field, completes his swim in 96 minutes.
The main challenge about Ironman is you get the negative thoughts out of your way. The main challenge there is to put in the more positive.
At the halfway point of the Shimano bike leg, the lead bunch continues to set a hot pace. In worrying signs to all his rivals, Vernay looks comfortable. In the women's, 29-year-old Carrie Lester has taken command. At the 90k mark, she holds a 3-minute lead over Lisa Morangan. Rebecca Keat is a further 3 minutes back. This is a crucial time for the race favourite, whose best leg is still to come.
I don't really get time checks that often. It's really hard to know where you are, and often I don't even know how far behind I am or how far in front I am. So my goal is just to try and stay the same pace on the 3 laps and try not to struggle too much towards the end of the bike. I seem to drop a little bit towards the end there, but I've been really working on my bike strength.
One of the beauties of Ironman is that whether you're a professional or an age grouper, you are all competing over the same course, including the taxing Timex heart rate hill. Port Macquarie, New South Wales may be stunning, but for these toilers, the location means hard work.
I get a lot of world conflict situations sorted out in my brain when I'm riding along and swimming and running. I think if all the politicians in the world were to interview me when I came and finished the Ironman, I'd have a lot of answers for world issues. So those are the sorts of things that go through your mind.
It is often said sport doesn't build character, it reveals it. So how does a potential Prime Minister want to be seen?
As someone who sticks to the task, who sticks to the plan, and who sees it through.
Into the final stages of the Shimano bike leg, and Paul Ambrose heads the lead bunch after 4 3/4 hours on the road. His arrival in transition triggers frantic activity. Ambrose moves into the Asics run leg. While in the change tent, no one is quicker than Vernay. Scott Niadley also pushes the clock. The race is well and truly on. Five and a half hours after the start, Vernay remains the one to beat. But watch for Niadley, runner-up to the New Caledonian 4 months earlier at Ironman Western Australia. Carrie Lester has extended her lead in the women's. It is a powerful performance. She is nearly 4.5 minutes ahead of Morangan, nearing transition. Lester arrives in transition after clocking the women's fastest time on the Shimano bike leg, just over 5 hours, 3 minutes. While third place, Keat, nearly 8 minutes behind, has a lot of work to do. But does she have an advantage? Running is her favourite leg, while Lester has never done a marathon. Either way, 42.2 kilometres is a daunting challenge.
You ask any pro athlete, most of them will say you never really think I've got a 42.2k run. You just think, I try to think I've got a nice 3-hour jog now, and it's just an easier way to think about it, because if you start thinking about the Ks and how far you've got to go, it really, really does your head in. So I always think, I've only got 2 hours left, that's just my normal Sunday run, so I definitely think about that, and then you've always got the crowd and the finish line feeling that you're always looking forward to too.
Behind the lead three, American Desiree Ficker and Australia's Amelia Pearson. Their work on the bike is done, but it's not over for so many others. Port Macquarie, New South Wales, in all its splendour. For Patrick Vernay, it's a great place to be. After just a matter of kilometres of the ASICS run leg, he has swept to the lead over Ambrose and Olivier Marceau, who tries to keep up. Vernet is a brilliant runner, but this time he is worried about his chances after he injured a tendon in his foot while training. He missed 2 weeks of preparation. Will it cost him? He is first through the power bar prime, just ahead of Marceau, who will soon retire. Of the other chasers, fourth place in the Adley is perhaps the biggest threat. Port Macquarie's Tim Burkle is also a renowned runner who has been waiting all day for this challenge.
I get my running legs early and just set, a good pace. And last year I was with Vinay, and I had to kind of settle into his pace, and he was just flying. But he got in my head a little bit last year. He was, nudging me, and he was talking to me in French, and I don't know what he was saying. I think he was asking me for directions. And I'm like, you've done this race how many times? You should know where to go. But hopefully, this year, he's not going to get in my head, and I'll hopefully give it back to him. No, Mr. Nice Guy this year.
But Burkle is 6.5 minutes back after 10 kilometres. He's still in with a chance, but for Jason Shortus, the day is done. He will pull out before the halfway mark. With every step, Carrie Lester is venturing further into the unknown. How much lead does she need to have to hold off her challengers? The power bar prime comes and goes. Lester remains in front. But the rigours of the day take their toll on Marangan. She pulls out soon after 12 kilometres. Keat moves into second. It now seems a race between two. To those hardened by running, there is the knowledge the marathon doesn't really begin until the 30-kilometre mark, when the notorious wall is waiting to be hit. Patrick Vernet ignores it. But the defending champion must maintain his pace because Scott Niadley is only 80 seconds behind after 32 kilometres. Trent Chapman is third, little more than 5 minutes behind Vernet. And strong runner Courtney Ogden is making up time. The temperature is pushing towards 30 degrees. For all out on the course, the Ironman Australia theme of being tough has never been more suitable. Over the final few kilometres, there is no stopping Patrick Vernet. He stretches his lead over Niadley to more than 4 minutes. All that remains is a finish he knows so well after clocking a 2-hour, 55-minute marathon. For the fourth straight year, the Ironman Australia Triathlon champion is the same man. Patrick Vernet crosses the line in 8 hours, 23 minutes, 54 seconds.
It's a dream because my wife and my children were there for the first time. I couldn't believe it. I won for the 4th time and they were here, and it's perfect, and thank you everybody.
Anyone wants to say after that?
You know, the race really starts in that last 10k, and that's when the wheels were starting to fall off again. And you know, all the way through the race, I think, you know, like the Port Macquarie course, it's a very fair bike and run. It's challenging. That's the type of profile that, you know, I like to have. Yeah, I thought maybe this was one I could take Patrick on at, but you know, it wasn't to be.
And the end of a great day for age grouper Trent Chapman in 3rd.
Mate, I'm lost for words. I just love this sport. I love the people. It's an amazing. I don't know. It's given me my life, my friends, my family. Thank you all.
The top 8 honour roll also includes Courtney Ogden, Matt White, Paul Ambrose, Tim Burkle, and his fellow Port Macquarie triathlete Adam Holbrook. At about the same time Vernay wraps up his epic day, Tony Abbott continues his.
It's a tough course and it's a hot day, but it's such a terrific thing to have finished 2 out of 3 legs. 1 leg to go, about 8.5 hours to do it, and I suspect I might take nearly all of those 8.5 hours.
Today, the high-profile politician is just another competitor in awe of the elite. None more brilliant than Carrie Lester. Her 3.5-hour marathon lifts her to the unforgettable. Victory in 9 hours, 23 minutes, 46 seconds.
Everyone was telling me that the race doesn't start until 30k, and they're so right, because that took a long time to get home. I hoped that the day would end like this, and it has, but no, I can't believe it.
Keat finishes 2nd, 9.5 minutes behind.
Yeah, it's a really tough day. They're the ones that mean the most, really, when you have a tough day and you can push through it like that. And everyone was cheering me so hard, and I couldn't even give them a hello. So thanks, guys, for supporting me out there today.
Amelia Pearson comes 3rd.
I just stuck at it, and I thought if I can just keep putting one foot in front of the other, that I might be able to get there. So yeah, my aim was to go 9:45, and I think I was just slightly over that. So I'm really happy.
In a pleasing day for age groupers, Tara Nolan, Leanne Southwell and Victoria Wilkinson all finish in the top 8. On a day that endurance demands respect from all. The Urban Hotel Group Ironman Australia Triathlon is not only a challenge for the competitors. For 2,000 volunteers, the hours are just as long. But members of this special community wouldn't have it any other way.
I think it's the reward that you get, that you're giving back to your community. And they're fantastic. The athletes are inspiring, so that's why you do it.
At the Gatorade hydration stations, their services are invaluable.
We deliver the water, cola, Gatorade, food. We have bananas, we have cookies, we have melons, we have jelly beans, we have gel sticks, we have Vegemite on paddle pop sticks. We give them all that, and just a bit of TLC as they go through. For some of them, they need to stop and have a little bit of 5 minutes rest and recoup, and we give them a bit of basic first aid, tend to them, and then we set them off their way again.
You guys have been awesome.
More and more runners make it home.
You spend so much time focusing your life on something for a period of time. Across that finish line is a pretty good feeling.
Everyone out there, all the age groupers, unless you're a top age grouper, they're all competing against themselves. So if you beat your best time, then you've won. If you finished, you've won basically as well.
Yeah, it was a hard day. It's harder than I thought it would be, but just had to put the head down and just battle on.
Port Macquarie first time. Wow, hard course. But do it, it's worth it. Definitely worth it. So something you'll never forget.
For Dave Ross, time struggles by. He is not feeling well.
Oh, tough day at the office, yeah. Yeah, it's sort of the cycling into the nor'easterly didn't help. Yeah, so but we're on the mends. You know, we'll get it through.
The cut-off mark is 17 hours, still a long way away. But doubts are growing. The only person to complete every single Ironman Australia is in danger of missing a medal. Blackens with fruit bats. They're heading home long before some triathletes. In the entire history of Ironman Australia, few competitors have created the interest of a man who has just entered the finishing chute. He'd planned to clock 14 hours. 3 minutes ahead of schedule, Tony Abbott becomes an Ironman.
It's probably the toughest challenge that a normal human being can face. It's not quite climbing Mount Everest, but nevertheless, it's short of climbing Mount Everest. It's probably the toughest thing you can do, and so I'm just thrilled to have done it. Absolutely delighted.
And still they carry on. And still they finish. Eventually, just a handful of minutes before the cutoff, a familiar figure meanders towards the line. Memories of his past 24 races carried him along. But the past week has ensured he reaches the finish.
On top of that, my mother died on Tuesday, and I did this for Mum. You know, so I was thinking all of that on the course. I was doing it tough, so I had an agenda there. Yeah.
For Dave Ross, everything is as it should be.
There is no sensation that can ever I can't describe what it is coming down that last 200 metres and seeing that finish line in front of you. And that is the most wonderful experience that anybody could ever have.
The 2010 Urban Hotel Group Ironman Australia Triathlon has finished. But for all who've conquered Port Macquarie, the race lives on.